2018 all over again, maybe right around the corner. This is what everybody is talking about, but I am here to tell you there is an opportunity within the obstacle. Never, ever have I ever seen anything ever come great without some chaos and madness. And today, I'm going to tell you, if you're worried about a recession or anything what you may be hearing in the headlines, there is something good in it for you. This is the ME Show.
Caught up since the day that we met, and you haven't seen the best of me yet. There's nothing like you and me together, and your eyes have been so hard to forget. But there's something you're trying to hide. There's something you're keeping inside. But I'm trying to get to know you much better. It don't matter how much time it takes. I just can't give up. Whoa, I just can't give up. Can't give up. I just can't give up. Oh, I just can't give up. I just can't give up. Can't give up. I just can't give up. I just can't give up.
Welcome with a brand new episode of the ME Show. My name is Ali Medawi, your host with the Avocado Toast, your strategic partner, where I work with struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital praise to create brand equity and revenue. Do me a solid. Let me know where you're chiming in from. And are you an entrepreneur? Are you hopefully an entrepreneur? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? And, it's interesting how I hear from different industries, especially the real estate industry, that there may be another 2008 ready to happen where the market went into a crazy craze and then it's about to crash, and you see inflations and you see the interest rates. And if you don't know, we are on day 18 of the recession. And if you're wondering, what do you identify a recession by? So when you have 2 quarters in a row where GDP is going down, which has been for the first and the second quarter, essentially July 1st was the very first day of the recession. Now, what can we do to make sure that we are not falling in the trap of whatever financial hurdles that whether you want to blame the government, whether you want to blame big pharma, whether you want to blame whatever you want to blame. I don't want to do that. See, the very first thing that I've done is to see, understand, learn, realize what did I not see in 2008? What did I not see in 2008? See, before 2008, there was no Twitter. There was no Facebook as it is today. There was no Instagram. There was no Tesla. There was no Airbnb. There was no Uber. Should I keep going? Everything that you and I are leveraging and using right now that happens to be $100 billion or $1 trillion plus, it didn't exist. So within those obstacles, there were very much opportunities. And I want you, and again, I'm not going to tell you what to invest money or assets into, right? Bitcoin actually wasn't even a thing in 2008 either. And here we are today. Cryptocurrency is a dominant force. Whether the market is up and down, it's always going to be there, right? So let's talk about in my case, right, I'm going to speak for myself. So I'm going to be looking heavily in technology companies and in crypto companies and in metaverse involved companies. And you may be saying, like, why is that? See, just like in 2008, there were just hints and signs, right? Like MySpace that turning the focus onto Facebook, that turned the focus into everything today is social media and digital. I mean, it costs an average of $7 per engagement if you do a sponsor ad on Facebook, for crying out loud. It costs about $2 on YouTube, which is cheaper, but it's still $2 per. And I'll keep going on and on and on and on. These things wasn't even relevant for us back then, right? So the very first thing I'm doing is I'm going to look at where is the future that might not make sense or might not be logical for today's day and age, but is showing much of potential. So why the metaverse? And do you even know what metaverse? Do you know why Facebook, which is going to become almost $1 trillion company soon, has shifted its attention and changed its name to Meta, and now it's creating virtual worlds? See, in the future, you're going to have industries, companies, organizations that do everything with a headset on, with Oculus or whatever it may be. You're going to have organizations and companies that are going to create swag stores, and they're going to create concerts. I watched an NBA basketball game with my headset, and you look right, and there were the Warriors bench and Steph Curry and there Draymond Green and all of them, as if you're sitting right next to them. See, that's going to be the future, where you're going to have actually Virgin Galactics, where the next trip that they're going to orbit around the world, they're already selling metaverse seats. So instead of you spending $500,000 to $1 million to be in the actual rocket itself, you can be in your home, put the headset, and then for $500 to $5,000, depending on whatever the price points are going to be, you get to experience it. Now, with that space, you're going to have some spooky, crazy things that are going to happen, where there will be new solutions needed. For example, when we were kids, our parents would yell at us like, go outside and play. Why are you, sitting on your video games? Why are you playing, those video games all the time? Your eyes are going to hurt. Put the cell phone down, right? And I know some of you are going to be like, that's when you were kids? Like, I love you, but that's the kind of stuff that I heard growing up, right? You're always on your phone. All you're doing is in that thing on your screen. It's going to hurt your eyes. Go do something else. What's going to happen now is you're going to find those very same kids who are now grown-ups and adults who still have the emotional attachment to the virtual world, who are going to apply that, say, ignorance is bliss, where they're going to be in such a very bad financial and health situation, but in their eye, they're seeing a multi-million-dollar mansion, hanging out with people from Malibu, living the life to dream of, where they look down, and instead of seeing their belly hanging, they're going to see a six-pack, and they're going to ignore that reality right there. So you're going to see a new sense of treatments for that space. So I'm going to be looking at companies who are going to be innovative and creating a solution for those addictions. I believe that you're going to see new ways of doing things from between governments and between payment methods. I believe that new shopping ways, I'll give the malls, like regular traditional malls, 5 more years and they will be irrelevant. As a matter of fact, we're seeing it where we are living, where malls are being converted into condos and just entertainment centers under them, and they're removing all the stores. And that's just because that's the way we are living in the world that we are in right now. It is technology. It is social media. So, even you, let me know, do you order using Instacart? Do you find yourself using online purchase more than you actually do from the store? Because that'll give you an indication on what is happening, right? And then the other thing is, I'm going to really, really get aggressive and start looking for solutions that I can create myself. I think the app store on your phone is going to be so much more monetized, where the idea of free apps are going to be kind of like disappearing a little bit, unless there is ads processes behind them. What's that game? Candy Crush. Candy Crush sold for $7 billion a couple of years ago. $7 billion. Everybody go, oh, it's a free game. No, it's not. They're taking your information and they're selling it to advertisers. So it made it worth $7 billion with a B. So the reality is, you can sit there and say, oh, inflation is bad or economy is bad, and blame Democrats and blame Republicans and whatever you want to blame. Or you can say, okay, let me look at the history of this country and what happened in 2007 and 8, and then the 4 years after that, and what did I miss, and then how can I take advantage of it? At the same exact time, I would highly, highly recommend to you that you don't buy into the negative hype. See, depending on which administration is in the office, the news cycles, they maneuver their conversation to, the masses. And again, I don't belong to the Republican Party. I don't belong to the Democratic Party. I belong to the cocktail party. So if you're part of that, congratulations, we belong to the same party. But here's the thing. See, right now, or since the beginning of the current presidency, it was like, oh, it's not as bad, it could have been worse. It's not as bad, it could have been worse. The last administration did a bad job, but it could have been worse. It's preventative. Right now, where the lights are coming out that it is bad, what's happening is like, oh, 80% of the Senate and the House are not supporting the current president, because it plays into the narrative. We're the good people who are reporting everything. See, only negative news is news. Like you don't see the 5 o'clock news or whatever it is. I don't have cable TV, so I don't know what the news cycles look like. And you're going to hear today is a great day. Everybody's healthy and happy. There's a very, very, very small percentage of crimes and very, very small percentage of this and very, very small percentage of that. It's a great day to be alive. You don't hear that. You put the news every 5 minutes. It is breaking news. This person is killing this person. This person is robbing this person. This camera caught this person hitting an old lady. It is bad, bad, bad. In 1919, the mayor of New York was dealing with the very first pandemic recorded in the 1900s. And what ended up happening, the very first thing he did, he reached out to all the papers, the local papers in New York, and he said, I need you to collaborate with me, and I need you to not put major scary headlines on the newspaper about the pandemic, because if you do, we're going to have a problem that will not go away for a very, very long time. Now, this is back then. There's no medicine that we have right now. There's no technology that we have right now. That Spanish influenza pandemic was gone in and out of New York in 30 days. In 30 days. That is documented history. What is the difference between back then and what was happening in our pandemic? In our pandemic that we experienced in the last 2 years, breaking news, the CDC says you're going to die. Breaking news, the CDC says if you drink Coca-Cola, you're going to die. Breaking news, if you have hair, you're going to die. Breaking news, if you have eyebrows, the CDC, you are most likely to die 10 times more than everybody else. And people were buying into this fear, into like everything is bad. Oh my God, we're going to die. We're going to die. And what ended up happening, an incredible large amount of people ended up dying. The economy started taking a major hit. People lost of their jobs. There's just so much bad that came out of that. So I'm advising you, I'm asking you to put your positive hat on, because whatever you think will 100% expand. Not to get all deep on the law of attraction, but it is just as simple as when you wake up on the good side of the bed, you have a good day. When you wake up and saying, man, today's gonna suck, what ends up happening? It just goes bad, 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 bad. So please, please, please make sure that you are educating yourself on the opportunities, not the obstacles, because here's what you already know. If you just look at the recent history of the world, and specifically the country that I live in, the United States, there has always been, every 10 to 15 years, a major crash on something, and then it goes right back to the best times ever. And then there's a little bit of another crash, and then the best time ever. Because by default, the law of polarity and the law of cause and effect, and I can go on into so many different laws, what comes around goes around. This is the world that we live in. It's just the cycle that gives you a brand new opportunity to capture what you've missed the last cycle around. So many of us said, man, only if I could go back to Bitcoin when it was, okay, Bitcoin came back. To one point, it was $17,000. Now you say, I don't have $17,000. Who said you have to buy a whole Bitcoin? You can buy a portion of it, but you didn't. So you don't have the right to complain. So again, what goes around will always come around. The planets orbit around the sun since the creation of this universe. The galaxies are still moving. The gas prices, I remember when they were 79 cents when I came to the States in 2002. And I remember when I hit $3.50 back in 2011 or 12. And people were like complaining, and then it went back down to $1 and whatever, 90, 80, couple of years back. And now it's going back up. It's always going to go all the way around. The question is, are you looking for the opportunity, or are you looking for the obstacle? Are you looking for the problem, or are you looking for the solution? I choose to believe that there is good in everything that is around us. And if you have that mindset, you become an innovator, and you may be the one who creates the next solution this world needs to be. I was talking to somebody actually, while a bunch of people last week, everybody's complaining and taking pictures of their gas tank as they're filling up, gas. Oh, it's $70, it's $100, this is ridiculous. I had one gentleman that reached out to me, and his company just created, I don't belong to the company. I'm not doing advertisement. I'm just sharing the different mindsets. So while the world is complaining about gas prices, they have I think a tablet or a pill or something that they drop in their gas tank, and it expands the life of the gallon per mile average. I was like, that is ridiculously genius. They're like, well, I mean, there's a problem, you can find a solution. This is a technology that supposedly existed for a very long time. It's just not advertised for obvious reasons. Nobody wants us to expand the life of mileage per gallon. So I'm telling you this just to let you know, same exact circumstance. There are people who look for gas prices are expensive, and others that say, I just extended the life of my mile per gallon. Same situation, different mindsets. I was watching a reel somebody shared by Jim Rohn, who was talking about there's two different salespeople, right, in this company. And it was this horrible storm. Again, two people belong to the same company, horrible storm on the outside. One looked out the window, was like, man, this is a horrible storm. I don't feel like getting wet or doing anything. I'm just going to sit back and relax and enjoy until tomorrow, and I'll start it. The second one said, man, look at this storm. That means everybody is stuck at home. There's no better time for me to go out and knock on doors. See, two different mindsets, same circumstance, same storm, same company. What mindset do you have? Are you looking for the problem, or are you looking for the opportunity? Are you looking for the solution, or are you looking for the complexity of things? I'm begging you, there is good in everything around us. Now, you may tell me, Ali, what are you, crazy? Like, so you're telling me the pandemic was good? I didn't say that. I'm saying there is good for all of us. Some people have a certain goal, purpose, time. Like my grandpa left us because of the pandemic, and that is a painful thing for me, right? But I do know one thing, and I had to talk to family, and we all came into this. He lived a full life, and he achieved and established all of the things that he wanted. He did his dues. He's not dead, not to me at least. He just carried on in a different energy that I don't see. I don't get to touch him, feel him, hear him anymore. And that sucks. That's horrible. However, he's still around and he's still alive. He just passed on the torch to me now to carry his legacy and continue it around. So I'm asking you, look for the good. I choose to smile for my grandpa. I don't want to cry, because I believe spiritually he is crying alongside with me when I cry. So I tell you all of this. Read back, look back at 2008. What did you miss? Because the cycle is right back around. Everybody's like, dude, 2008 is coming all the way around. Yeah, it is. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? Are you sitting in there and complaining about gas prices and the government and watching the 5 p.m. news? Or are you looking for opportunities that are around you right here, right now? For things you can invest into, for companies that are going to be created, for things you may create yourself as a solution. That's what I do all day, every day. And let me tell you, not only is such a fulfilling process where you can impact somebody by providing solutions to them, but you can make a nice buck and meanwhile as well, because while there are many different descriptions or definitions of what an entrepreneur is, that by definition is somebody who risks their own money and their own time in order for the hope of getting a return on investment. Hope. And that's a part that maybe people skip. They think it's an automatic return. No, there's hope. But to me, an entrepreneur is somebody who finds a solution and monetize it. That's all there is to it. When you're hungry, there's a restaurant. The restaurant was smart enough to put a restaurant in a place where there's no other solutions but to look at you, right? Clothing, whatever you may think of, it's a solution for a problem that you may have. So don't just sit there and be a customer and spend money on solutions. Be part of the solution itself and make money from it as well. I hope this helped you out a little bit. We're going to be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You may have seen we've cleaned house and relaunched and reopened everything. There's a brand new day on the Madawi Enterprise. We have new partners. We have just some exciting things that are in the horizon. So let's connect. Let's talk. I'm going to be bringing back, this is again, I haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to be bringing back free coaching Wednesdays. So in other words, on Wednesdays, I will release a Calendly link where you can just book a session one-on-one, no expectations, just 20 to 30 minutes, you and I having a full conversation about whatever is important to you and just giving you some love, giving you some help and assistance. So if you want to get some of that love, let me know and I will hit you up. With that, love you and I appreciate you. And until next time, peace out.